asking people for sympathy or attention.
Right,
Attention-seeking posts, it happens in people, but it's something people should not practice. What you put out stays permanently on the internet.
Okay, and one last thing that I wanted to touch on was we've seen, especially on LinkedIn over the last kind of 8-9 months or so, there's this real trend of vulnerability and sharing a lot of personal sharing about problems that people go through and so on. And it's great because all of us, resonate with human stories and stuff. But a lot of these posts just seem to be, at least in my opinion, seem to be a little bit of therapy, right? It's almost like a cry for help and let's get some therapy from LinkedIn community. And we were discussing this earlier about that balance between being authentic, being vulnerable, and maybe oversharing, and the impact it has on personal branding. So what's your view and advice to somebody on how to straddle this line between being authentic and oversharing?
I think the authenticity is no question, okay? Everybody who puts out any kind of content has to be genuine, and as far as much concerned, not to lie about where they come from or what they do. But the kind of content that you put out, okay, although genuine, between business or personal or professional, it has to have a certain kind of weightage. Because people, when you go out there and you crack yourself open and you stay vulnerable and tell people about real personal things, you got to remember it's not about the experience. People care for you in the instant moment of what you're going through, but eventually what they carry permanently is a perception of you. And the impression you don't want to give people, especially if you're doing business and business posting, is that you're weak, you're incapable of any sorts. Now, it happens because the kind of content is what the kind of audience you want to attract. I do suggest that people do put personal content out there, okay, to a certain limit where people already read it, understand you're human, and that's the objective.
But showcasing struggles, showcasing issues is fine.
Yes.
But always in a growth kind of positive kind of mentality, right?
Yes.
As in what you learned from it and how you're moving forward, as opposed to just negativity
or basically sharing very, very personal part of your family.
Yeah.
I mean, to a certain extent, my followers know that I got 3 kids, I have them homeschooled, and I was building a business with them. And I go through bankruptcy and share the struggles and how it made me today. But I was in a position where I tell people my exact problem, okay, and asking people for sympathy or attention. Attention-seeking posts, it happens in people, but it's something people should not practice. What you put out stays permanently on the internet. Okay, so which means people will remember that of you. And once you create a perception of you in other people, that's how they forever will remember you as. And it's harder to redeem yourself later.
Absolutely. And I mean, I think the one thing to never forget, this is still social media, right? And perception often on social media is reality.
Yes.
So personal branding still requires a lot of management and a lot of being careful and thinking about what you're sharing out there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even though we say that, okay, we are human beings, we should not be judgmental, but the world works such that they are judgmental.
Yeah.
They don't admit it, they may admit it, I don't know, okay? But regardless what you put out, people create automatically a perception, impression of you, and you can't entirely blame them because that's what you give them. You give them that opportunity to judge you when you put yourself out there. It comes from you, your face, your voice. So your content is true from you. So after that, what people think of you, whether you're weak or you are unkind or whether you're professional, whether you are mature, that's what they carry with them. And that's the perception they bring along.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thanks, guys. Leza Parker for you.